The Thanksgiving table was set with Mom's best china, the Wedgwood that only came out for holidays and funerals. 22 people crammed into my parents' formal dining room, a sea of extended family members who'd driven from 3 different states to celebrate together. The turkey was golden, the sides were plentiful, and my sister Vivian was holding court like she was arguing before the Supreme Court. "I have an announcement," she declared, standing at her place near the head of the table. She was wearing a silk blouse that cost more than my monthly grocery budget, at least more than my family thought my monthly grocery budget was. "As of Monday, I will officially be a partner at Harrison and Cole." The table erupted in applause. Aunt Margaret actually wiped away tears. Uncle Robert raised his wine glass. My parents beamed with the incandescent pride they reserved exclusively for Vivian's achievements. "Partner at 34, Dad said, shaking his head in wonder. "At one of the most prestigious law firms in the city? That's my girl." Vivian's eyes found mine across the table. She smiled, that particular smile she'd perfected over 32 years of sibling rivalry, the one that looked warm to everyone else, but was designed specifically to cut. "Of course, not everyone can be successful," she gestured in my direction with her wine glass. "Jamie here is still finding herself. 32 years old, no real career, contributing nothing while I make partner. You're a waste of space, honestly, but I guess every family needs one." The laughter was uncomfortable but present. Some relatives shifted in their seats, others nodded along. They'd heard the narrative so many times they'd stopped questioning it. Dad nodded proudly at Vivian, as if publicly humiliating me was just another accomplishment to celebrate. Mom patted my hand from across the table. "Don't worry, sweetie. Maybe next year you'll figure things out." I smiled, just smiled. Then I opened my phone under the table and sent an email to Patricia Weston, my attorney. "Dissolve silent partnership in Harrison and Cole. Liquidate immediately. Full withdrawal of capital investment per Section 7.3 of the partnership agreement." Her reply came in under 2 minutes. "Confirmed. Initiating withdrawal of $3.1 million capital contribution. Harrison and Cole will receive formal notice within the hour." "Are you certain?" I typed back. Never been more certain. Mom was bringing out the pumpkin pie when Vivian's phone started buzzing. She ignored it at first. She was still accepting congratulations from distant cousins, but it kept going. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Then it started ringing with an actual call. She glanced at the screen and frowned. "It's Richard Harrison, the senior partner." She stood, already moving toward the hallway. "I need to take this," probably just congratulating me on the partnership. Through the doorway, I watched her answer with a confident smile. I watched that smile freeze. I watched the color drain from her face as Richard Harrison delivered news that would reshape everything she thought she knew about her precious law firm. I helped myself to a slice of pumpkin pie. It was delicious. In our family, there was only one acceptable definition of success: professional prestige. Dad was a cardiologist with a reputation that preceded him everywhere. Mom was a retired federal judge whose opinions were still cited in law school classrooms. Vivian had been groomed for law school since she could pronounce jurisprudence. They'd literally given her a toy gavel for her 5th birthday. The Whitmore family didn't just have expectations. We had a dynasty to maintain, a reputation to uphold, a legacy of professional excellence that stretched back 3 generations and showed no signs of slowing. And then there was me. I was never interested in medicine or law. While Vivian was mock-trying cases in her bedroom and Dad was teaching her how to diagnose from symptoms, I was in the garage taking apart old computers. While she was interning at law firms every summer, I was teaching myself to code, to build, to create things from nothing. "Jamie's going through a phase," Mom would tell relatives at every holiday gathering. "She'll come around. She just needs to find her path." I never came around. Instead, I dropped out of pre-med after 1 semester, to my parents' horror, and switched to computer science. The day I told them, Dad literally left the dinner table without a word. Mom cried. Vivian sent me a text that said only, "Congratulations on throwing away your future." Then I dropped out of that too, because I was already making more money from my side projects than my professors were making in salary. That news went over even worse. Dad didn't speak to me for 3 months. "She's throwing away her future," I overheard Dad tell Mom when I was 20. No degree, no profession, just playing with computers like she's still 12. What he didn't know, what I never told him, was that my playing with computers had already made me $500,000. A security vulnerability I discovered and reported had earned me a bug bounty that would have taken him months to earn in surgery. An app I'd built as a joke had been acquired by a tech company for 6 figures before I turned 21. I told no one. Why would I? Every time I tried to share an accomplishment, Vivian found a way to minimize it or redirect the conversation to her own achievements. Every family dinner became a competition I'd never asked to enter, and in my parents' eyes, a competition I always lost. So I stopped competing. I let them believe I was the failure, the dropout, the waste of space who couldn't get her life together. It was easier than fighting for recognition from people who had already decided who I was. Meanwhile, in the background, I was quietly building an empire. By 25, my net worth had crossed $10 million. A security startup I'd co-founded was acquired by a major tech company in a deal that valued my shares at $8.2 million. I used that money to start Thornwood Capital, a private investment firm that focused on professional services companies, law firms, accounting practices, medical groups, the kinds of businesses my family worshipped but didn't understand from the capital side. I understood them intimately. I'd grown up watching how these businesses worked, listening to my parents discuss the politics and economics of their professions. I knew that even the most prestigious law firms were often one bad year away from crisis, that their balance sheets were fragile, their cash flow dependent on a handful of major clients, their partnership structures designed to extract maximum profit while leaving minimal cushion for emergencies. Thornwood Capital specialized in providing silent capital partnerships to these prestigious firms. We'd invest significant sums, typically $2 to $5 million, in exchange for fixed returns and profit participation. No management involvement, no name on the door, just quiet money that let prestigious firms expand, hire talent, and weather difficult periods. When Harrison & Cole approached us 4 years ago, I almost laughed. The firm was in trouble. They'd lost 3 major clients in a corporate espionage scandal that wasn't their fault, but had tainted them by association. Their senior partners were threatening to leave to competitors. They needed capital desperately, $3 million minimum, and the banks were nervous about lending to law firms in the current climate. My team brought me the deal without knowing my connection. Strong underlying practice, the analyst said, just needs stabilization capital. The upside potential is significant if they can weather this storm. I looked at the partner roster and saw a familiar name, Vivian Whitmore, senior associate on track for partnership. My sister's firm, desperate for money, coming to me. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I invested $3.1 million through Thornwood Capital, structured as a silent partnership with profit participation. The deal was handled by my attorneys with no mention of my name anywhere in the documentation. To Harrison & Cole, we were simply an investment fund making a strategic bet on their recovery. And they recovered. With our capital infusion, they stabilized operations, retained their key partners, and began rebuilding their client base. Within 2 years, they were profitable again. Within 3, they were thriving, expanding into new practice areas, hiring aggressively, climbing the rankings of top regional firms. The trade publications ran features about their remarkable turnaround, crediting the partners' strategic vision and unwavering commitment to excellence. No one mentioned the anonymous $3.1 million that had made the turnaround possible. No one knew to mention it. My investment had doubled in value. The $3.1 million was now worth over $6 million on paper, generating annual returns of nearly $400,000. Every quarter, I received detailed reports about the firm's performance, about cases won, clients acquired, associates promoted, about Vivian's trajectory toward partnership, and through it all, Vivian had no idea. She didn't know that her waste of space sister owned a significant stake in the firm she was so proud to join. She didn't know that her partnership, the crowning achievement she just announced at Thanksgiving, was only possible because I had quietly saved the firm from collapse. Every holiday she mocked me. Every family gathering she reminded everyone of my failures. Every phone call with Mom somehow circled back to how successful Vivian was and how concerning my life choices were. I absorbed it all, smiled through it, went